The bell atop Vaelith's watchtower tolled midnight, tearing the silence of the mist-laden kingdom. Far below, lantern light painted the cobbled streets gold, but up in the tower the sacred moon lanterns sputtered like a dying heartbeat. Mira, a young apprentice with wild curls and an even wilder heart, darted up the spiral stairs, her breath smoke in the cold night air. Beside her, Sel, a russet fox with eyes quick as lightning, trotted deftly. "You saw it too?" Mira asked, panic rising. She gripped the iron balustrade as the flame above flickered again, shrinking until only a wisp remained. Sel flicked his tail. "The night veil's stirring. When the lamp dims, the shadows hunger." Mira forced herself not to tremble. She reached the lantern's pedestal. Once a proud beacon, it now shone goat-weak, a glimmer fighting to push back the rolling fog outside the window. "Master Ilwyn said this flame could never die," Mira whispered. Sel's pointed ears drooped. "Even traditions fade. Did you hear the old rhyme?" It was in the scroll. Mira fumbled in her satchel, drawing out a fragile parchment, faded ink scrawled in looping script. "When the veil is thin and darkness grows, seek the fox who speaks and the lantern glows. Through wood and shadow, truth is unveiled, lest all of Vaelith be lost and hope impaled." Sel snorted. Prophets could be clearer. A sudden howl cut through the mist. Down in the valley, something ancient answered. A darkness, thick as tar, spilled from the woods, crawling up the stone walls. "Mira?" Sel's tone was grave. "If we don't reignite the lantern, they'll break through. The nightlings. Our worst tales come to life." The wind rattled the tower with new fury. Mira's heart hammered. She looked from the fox to the fading flame, a choice sparking within her. It was not courage she felt, but the weight of necessity. "I'm going," she declared. "There's no one else." Sel nodded, fur bristling. "Then we start in the woods. The old witch there owes me a favor." Together, they plunged into the mist-swallowed night, stepping off the tower's safety into a world where shadows hunted and legends demanded their due. Mira didn't look back. The fate of Vaelith flickered with every step forward. The mist thickened as Mira and Sel crossed the drawbridge into Blackwood. Gnarled branches clawed the moonlight, and every step made Mira's lantern sway nervously in her hand. The trees whispered secrets she wasn't meant to hear. "Stick to the path," Sel murmured, nose twitching. "Witchlings don't take kindly to trespassers." Mira frowned, brushing damp tendrils from her forehead. "You said she owed you? What for?" "It's complicated," Sel hedged. "Let's say I returned something she lost, or nearly lost. Details. A shrill cackle rose, echoing through the branches. Shadows writhed, shifting into strange forms. Mira's grip tightened on her satchel, and Sel arched his back, hackles raised. A crooked cottage loomed, windows lit by eerie blue light. The door creaked open. Out hobbled the witch, a hunched figure in tattered robes, her eyes gleaming like beetles in the lantern's tired glow. "Sel, you furry scoundrel," the witch crooned. "And you've brought the girl. Good. I've been expecting you." "How?" Mira stammered. "The lantern calls to all who matter." The witch leered. "You want to fix what's broken, child? The flame withers because old wounds fester. Vaelith's heart is bleeding." Sel bristled. "We need passage through the Shadowgate catacombs. You promised." "Promises cost," she snapped, fingers curling like roots. "But there's a way. Unite what was split. The clans. Ashen, Skyborn, Thornkind. Only together can you mend the moon lantern. Otherwise, you feed the night veil yourself." She thrust a bundle into Mira's arms. Herbs, stones, a silver key. "How am I supposed to get them to listen to me?" Mira exhaled, doubt rising. The witch grinned, revealing jagged teeth. "Courage speaks loudest when hope is faint. Trust the fox, but also yourself." Thunder rumbled overhead. From the deep forest, claws scraped earth. Nightlings were on the move. "Go," the witch commanded, her voice suddenly fierce. "Find the Shadowgate before the darkness finds you." Mira's heart pounded as she bolted from the clearing, Sel at her heels. For the first time, she wondered if bravery meant being afraid and running anyway. The path ahead twisted into shadows, and she had to find her own light. Rain began to fall as Mira and Sel hurried through the Blackwood, fat drops turning the forest floor to mud. The witch's warning echoed in Mira's mind. Ashen, Skyborn, Thornkind. She barely knew the tales, let alone how to unite feuding magical clans. Lightning flashed. Far ahead, an overgrown statue marked the hidden path. A fox and a maiden, carved from stone and nearly swallowed by thorns, pointed the way to the Shadowgate. Not much farther now, Cell panted, ears slicked back. But listen, Mira, Ashen clan folk aren't fond of outsiders, especially humans. And that's supposed to make me feel better? Mira swallowed, forcing a shaky grin. The bundle the witch had given her felt heavy. She clutched the silver key inside. A low growl drifted out of the brambles. Red eyes gleamed. At least 3 nightlings, their bodies smoke and shadow, slipped from the undergrowth and blocked the way. Cell pressed close, muscles taut. We run on 3. You ready? Mira nodded, heart hammering. 1. The nightlings hissed, smoky claws reaching. 2. A scream burst from Mira's throat as she sprinted. Cell darted beside her, weaving between grasping darkness. Claws scraped her cloak, clutching at the edge, but she twisted free, stumbling toward the statue. Get to the base, Cell barked. She flung herself at the statue's pedestal. The silver key pulsed with light. Mira jammed it into a hidden notch and twisted. There was a shudder and a soft chime. Then a patch of air shimmered and split, revealing a doorway of swirling mist. With a desperate leap, Mira and Cell plunged through. Cold ripped through her skin. For a moment, thunder and howls faded. Then suddenly she was somewhere impossibly old. Walls of bone-white stone twisted with silver roots. Shadows flickered, but nothing moved within. The nightlings could not follow. Mira gasped, slumping against the smooth floor. Cell dropped down, tongue lolling, grinning up at her. You did all right, kid. The safety was fragile, Mira knew, just a veil pulled tight. Ahead, the catacombs of the Ashen clan waited, their secrets eager for her arrival. She pressed forward, the tantalizing promise of light flickering in the darkness, and wondered how much longer courage would hold her together. The air in the catacombs pressed heavy against Mira's chest. Odd echoes twisted down the bone-white halls, as if voices forgotten were whispering behind every slab of stone. Dust motes danced in Cell's lantern light. Mira shivered, not from cold, but from something ancient lurking just out of sight. Mira, Cell whispered, more serious than she'd ever heard him. Stay close. The Ashen clan don't like surprises. She nodded and stepped forward. Strange symbols gleamed faintly on the walls, roots entwined with burning moons. Ahead, a flicker of sapphire blue hinted at someone waiting. They rounded the bend to a grand chamber. Shapes glimmered in the stone benches, a dozen ashen folk, skin pale as bone, hair black as jet, eyes deep and unblinking. In the center sat their elder, robes woven of gray mist. Who seeks the ashen? The elder intoned, voice rising and falling like wind. Mira's heart stumbled, but she drew strength from Cell's supportive look. My name is Mira. I come for the moon lantern. Our light is dying. I need your help and the help of all the clans to save Vaelith. The elder eyed her sharply. Long ago your kind turned from the old ways. You abandoned the pact. Why trust you now? Cell coughed, stepping forward. The Night Veil doesn't care who's to blame. If you want Dawn to come again, help her. A younger Ashen, face unreadable, spoke up. And what binds us to trust this girl and her scavenger fox? What will you sacrifice, Mira? Her mouth went dry. Wasn't her fear sacrifice enough? Or the bruises on her knees, the way she'd lost the comfort of certainty? She straightened and unwrapped the witch's bundle, revealing the moon-pale stone inside. It glimmered with hope. I'll give whatever I have to, but if you refuse, the darkness wins, for us all. A hush followed. At last the elder reached forward, touching the moonstone. His fingers trembled. The clans must gather. Ashen, Skyborn, Thornkind. You will carry our token, Mira, and our old words. But beware, some among us will try to stop you. Not every shadow wears a monster's face. He pressed a pendant into her palm, icy cold. Cell's eyes danced. Next stop, Skyborn territory. But we'll need wings, or a way to climb higher than hope. As they stepped out, Mira's resolve hardened, or was it just her fear, finally learning to beat in harmony with her heart? Behind her, the ashen songs rose, a sound like morning and dawn woven together. Ahead, the haunted peaks awaited. Mira's boots slipped along the mountain trail, the pendant heavy against her chest. Gray clouds swirled above, making the world feel as if it balanced between dusk and dawn. Cell squinted up the slope, ears pressed against the wind. Skyborn folk live up there, beyond the cloud line. They watch everything, but rarely help. Mira's muscles burned as she climbed. Behind her, Blackwood and the catacombs faded into clouds. Before her, only jagged rock and thin air. The sky rumbled. Above, immense bridges of twisted wood and shimmering threads stretched between the peaks. Skyborn territory, floating just out of reach. Between the mountains and the bridges, the chasm dropped away, dizzying and unforgiving. "Don't look down," Sel muttered. Then he peered at Mira sideways. "Got a plan, Featherless?" She bit her lip, eyeing a rickety rope bridge. The wind howled, threatening to rip it away. "That's the start of a plan." She started forward, each step vibrating with fear. Halfway across, the bridge shuddered. A falcon-shaped shadow swooped overhead. Out of the clouds, winged figures descended, the Skyborn. Their faces were angular, their eyes like sunlight on ice. "Halt," one called, her voice sharp. "This path is forbidden. State your purpose." Mira steadied herself, forcing out her words. "The moon lantern is dying. The Ashen have agreed to unite. Will the Skyborn join or let Vaelith fall to shadows?" They circled her, wings rustling. The leader frowned. "Last time the clans gathered, betrayal spilled blood. Why should anyone, trust again?" Sel stepped forward with a flick of his tail. "Because trust is all that's left. Or are you so high above the world, you'd watch it perish for pride?" Another Skyborn landed lightly on the bridge, eyes wide. "Wait, she carries the Ashen pendant. The old prophecy stirs." An uneasy silence, broken only by the wind. At last, the leader's feathers smoothed. "You will take our feather. It is a promise and a warning. Our kin will gather, but only if the Thorn can do as well. That path is treacherous." She handed Mira a silver-white feather, crackling with quiet power. "And the girl?" a Skyborn youth asked. "She's already walked with Nightlings." The leader fixed Mira with a steely gaze. "The darkness changes you. Trust yourself or you'll be lost before the end." Her words stung, honest and cold as the wind. But as Mira left the sky bridges with Sel, the feather warm in her hand, she realized a strange thing. Some of her old fear had been carved away, the climb making room for something fiercer. Far below, the forest thickened into bramble and rose. Thornkind country beckoned, tangled with history and too many secrets to count. The descent into Thornkind country was a trial in itself. Brambles crowded the path, their thorns sharp enough to draw blood if Mira let her guard drop for even a second. The light here was strange and dappled, filtered through a tangle of rose and briar. Sel walked with his ears flat, nose twitching. "Step light, Mira. Thornkind believe outsiders bring ruin." "Wonderful," Mira whispered, though a half-smile tugged at her lips. Each step snagged at her cloak. The feather from the Skyborn, tucked beside the Ashen pendant, throbbed with a gentle pulse, the magic of her journey gathering. Ahead, pale fireflies blinked in the gloom, gathering in a spiral. Suddenly, figures emerged from the shadows. They wore armor woven of living vines, petals braided into their hair. Their leader, a woman with leaf-green eyes and a crown of thorns, raised a thorn-laced staff, blocking Mira's way. "No further, human," the woman snapped. "Too often, others come here with empty words and emptied hands." Mira took a breath and stepped forward, palms open. "We need the Thornkind. The moon lantern fades, and if we let the night veil in, even your roses will die." Sel added, voice low, "She's earned the trust of Ashen and Skyborn, but Thornkind wisdom, no one else has it." The woman's gaze sharpened, skepticism glinting. "Why would you unite us now when our roots run deepest in old grudges?" Mira fumbled for the right words, realizing the moment was as much a test of her resolve as theirs. "Because old wounds need tending, or the whole forest sickens. Let this be the first healing." She withdrew the Skyborn feather and Ashen pendant, holding them so the Thornkind could see. The queen studied her, then pierced her own finger with a thorn, pressing bright blood onto a white rose. It turned crimson as she handed it to Mira. "Carry this to the Gathering Stone, at the heart of the forest. We will come, but beware. There are those among us who listen to the darkness." Her warning sent a chill through Mira. She glanced at Sel, who gave a sage nod. "To the heart of the forest, then." As they followed the spiral of fireflies deeper, Mira realized how much she'd changed, her courage no longer borrowed, but grown from her own choices. But the night veil, knowing she'd nearly gathered all the clans, began to stir. The mist thickened and shadows took form at the forest's edge. The lantern's flame, far away atop the city, flickered so faintly now that all of Vaelith seemed to hold its breath. The true test, the gathering, was almost upon them. The forest heart was a place out of legend, a vast clearing where 3 ancient stones stood in a triangle, carved with sigils from a time before memory. Ghostly light filtered down, turning the grass silver. Fog wound between the stones, carrying distant echoes of laughter and sorrow. Mira stepped into the center, breath tight in her chest. The tokens of each clan clutched to her heart: the moonstone, the sky feather, and the blood-stained rose. Sel circled warily, fur bristling. "You feel it? The air's too quiet." She did. The hush was not peace, but the deep silence before a storm. One by one the clan delegates appeared, pale ashen in moonlit gray, skyborn with feathers shining, thornkind with petals glimmering on their armor. Each group eyed the others with years, sometimes centuries of mistrust. The Ashen Elder spoke first. The pact was broken by blood and pride. Why heal it now? Mira's voice rang clear, though her hands trembled. Because the darkness comes for us all. If we let old wounds fester, none of us will see another dawn. The lantern's flame is proof. Hope fades when we stand apart. The Skyborn leader's eyes shone. "And if we unite?" Sel answered, sharp and honest. "If you do, hope might outshine the night. Refuse, and the night veil devours us, one by one." A murmur rippled through the assembly. From the Thornkind a young man stepped forward, voice rough with memory. "What if betrayal rises again? Will you pay the price, Mira?" She swallowed her fear. "I will. My life, if that's what it takes. But I ask, is fear worth more than the chance for light?" The murmurs faded into silence. At last, with the forest watching, the three leaders stepped forward, laying their tokens on the central stone: moonstone, feather, blood rose. A glow suffused the clearing. The stones hummed. But as the pact began to weave, a scream erupted from the trees. Twisted shadows burst forth, nightlings pouring into the circle, clawing for the tokens. Mira hurled herself forward, shielding the tokens with her body. Sel snapped and darted, but the nightlings pressed close. The delicate new harmony began to fray. "Don't let go!" Sel shouted as Mira's grip threatened to slip. Even as terror surged, something stubborn rooted Mira to the spot, her courage, hard-earned, refusing to yield. The chapter ended in chaos. Light battling shadow, Mira at the storm's eye, the future of Vaelith tilting on the edge of a knife. Shadows tore at Mira's arms and legs, icy claws raking against skin. The tokens trembled, light pulsing against the darkness. Clutching them, Mira bit back a scream, willing herself not to flinch. The nightlings shrieked, hunger in every strike, and the gathering stone's hum grew frantic. Sel darted between the monstrous shadows, his quick paws and snapping jaws keeping the worst at bay. "Hold on, Mira! Don't let go! We can't lose the link now!" The Ashen, Skyborn, and Thornkind leaders, momentarily stunned, now rallied. The Ashen Elder raised glimmering hands, sending cold silver fire into the fray. Skyborn wings sliced the air, stirring gales that scattered the creeping mist. Thornkind warriors brandished thorn-wrapped blades, rose petals swirling as weapons found their mark. Still, the nightlings kept coming. Mira's shoulders burned with exhaustion. "They'll overwhelm us," a voice in her head whispered. But another voice, newer and stronger, shouted back, "Not this time." Summoning every last drop of resolve, Mira forced herself to stand, voice echoing in the chaos. "You want the lantern's light? Face me!" Shadows surged, focusing their assault, but the tokens blazed bright in her grasp, and the united power of the clans answered her call. Sel skidded to her side, teeth bared. "You have to finish the binding, Mira. Say the words." Panic jolted through her. I don't remember. Listen to your heart." Sel barked. "Light finds truth and courage." Mira closed her eyes, drowning out the shrieks and storms. A memory flickered. Master Ilwyn's voice, gentle and sure. "Hope's flame is kindled from within. Speak to the stones, to the clans. Let your light lead." She spoke, first a whisper, then gathering strength. "By moon, wing, and thorn, let old scars heal. Together we shine. Let the lantern's veil be lifted. Let Vaelith wake to dawn." The tokens flashed and fused, a burst of white fire rolling outward. The nightlings howled, bodies unraveling in the brilliance, mist boiling away. One by one the shadows vanished, leaving only trembling survivors and the scent of new roses in the air. Seconds lingered, the clearing silent, the three clans staring in awe at Mira. The gathering stone's glow rose skyward, toward the distant watchtower, where the moon lantern waited to be rekindled. If Mira could reach it in time, her triumph was tempered by a new fear. The binding was done, but the journey wasn't over. As bruised light returned to the world, Mira's task now loomed larger than ever, facing what waited atop Vaelith's tallest tower. The remaining mist clung to Mira's skin as she hurried from the forest with Sel at her side, pale dawn breaking with each stumbling step toward Vaelith's tower. The clans followed, a battered, uncertain alliance. Ashen weaving moonlight behind, Skyborn soaring above, Thornkind warriors guarding the flanks. The gathering stone's glow now pulsed inside Mira's chest, every heartbeat kindling a spark of hope. But as they neared the city walls, Mira glimpsed movement atop the watchtower, a shadow darker than night pacing beneath the dying moon lantern. Cell breathed a shaky sigh. The Night Veil's master came through when the lantern dimmed. He's bound to the last of its light. You'll have to face him, alone. Fear washed over her, then faded. Only she could finish what she had started. Inside the city, panic simmered. Windows were shuttered, prayers drifted through the streets. Mira climbed the winding stairs, clutching the fused tokens. A weight and a promise. The clans watched below, trusting her. She steeled herself at the final door, Cell pressing his warm head against her hand. "Remember," Cell whispered, his voice rough with pride, "it was never magic alone. You brought them here. You united them." Mira nodded, stepping onto the wind-battered balcony. Night Veil's master awaited, twisted, regal, eyes burning with ancient fury, shadows writhing at his feet. The moon lantern hung above, only a wisp of flame, the final barrier between realms. "Mortal child," the Shadow Lord sneered, "you stir hope where it should have died. Give me the light and I will grant you peace. Resist, and all you love turns to grief." Anger flared inside Mira, not just for herself, but for everyone who still believed. "I won't bargain with darkness." Vaelith stands united. The Shadow Lord's form stretched, blades of night swinging down. Mira ducked, holding the tokens high. Their combined magic shone bright, but his fury was relentless, shadows lashing at her, testing every crack in her resolve. At the edge of defeat, Mira remembered every risk, every friend, Cell, the witch, the clans, each sacrifice fusing into a defiant roar. She pressed the tokens into the lantern's base and shouted, "Vaelith's hope will not be veiled." The flame caught, first trembling, then rising, blinding white. The Shadow Lord screamed, battered by overwhelming light, his form unraveling into ash. For a moment, it seemed the very stones might crack under the force of it. But as the shadows fell away, Mira collapsed to her knees, breathless and shaking. The flame towered above her, radiant and whole. High stakes remained. The city was saved, but the magic cost her dearly. Cell ran to her side, nuzzling her cheek. From below, the clans erupted in joyous cries, but Mira's gaze remained on the horizon. Restoration would not come easily. Scars across Vaelith would take seasons to heal. Yet hope flickered where once there was only dread, and for the first time, daylight spilled across the land. She hadn't ended the story. She'd sparked a new one, fragile and burning bright. Above, the moon lantern blazed. Below, Mira found the strength to rise. One last challenge, and a final message to deliver to her people, awaited in the city below. Mira descended the spiral stairs slowly, limbs aching, but spirit alight. The moon lantern's glow blazed through the windows, banishing every wisp of darkness that lingered in Vaelith. At her heels, Cell moved with a proud, tired gait, his brush trailing along the stones. As Mira emerged at the base of the tower, she was met by a crowd, Ashen, Skyborn Thornkind, and ordinary townsfolk, drawn together by the new dawn. The clan's leaders stood shoulder to shoulder, their old suspicions replaced by hard-won respect. A hush fell. Mira faced them, the weight of the tokens and memory pressing on her chest. The witch, wrapped in shadows, stepped forward and offered a small, approving nod. Little Kian from the baker's row peered shyly, hope bright in his eyes. Mira took a trembling breath and spoke, the same voice that had united the clans, now ringing with quiet certainty. "Vaelith will never be free of darkness, because darkness is the shadow of our own fears and failures. But together, we are stronger than the night. The lantern's veil was never magic alone. It was faith and courage, and the choice to reach across old wounds instead of hiding behind them." The Ashen Elder bowed. "You carry our trust now, Mira. Guard it well." The Skyborn leader added, "From this day, let our wings shield not only the sky, but each other's hope." From the Thornkind Queen, "Let roots and thorns entwine in peace. We are all Vaelith beneath the same lantern." Tears stung Mira's eyes as cheer broke out, echoing off stone and wood. Children laughed, tossing petals and feathers into the morning air. Cell padded beside her, smirking. "Not bad for a featherless apprentice. Think you'll want the job full-time?" Mira smiled through her exhaustion. Maybe I finally believe I can handle it." The clans began to disperse, returning to their lands with pledges to keep their pact and share their strengths. Some wounds would take time, but every voice joined in a new song, a melody of survival and hope, led by the lantern's steadfast flame. Late that evening, Mira stood at the tower's crest once again, Cell by her side. They watched the flickering silver fire and the first stars blinking above the mist. Mira felt her fear and uncertainty drift away, replaced by something that would last. The hard-won light kindled within herself, ready to guide Vaelith through any shadow. High stakes had been faced. Humanity's courage in one ragged, resolute girl had changed everything. And at the edge of night, as the old legends promised, dawn finally came to Vaelith.